pinaagi sa Google Play ug Apple Store, YouTube ug Twitter. Alang sa mas kipakuskan nga mga balita, komentaryo, kasayuran ug kalingawan. Ang mas kipakuskan nga inyong Radyo Ronda.
Member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Experts say more than 65% of people around the world are lactose intolerant. This means they're unable to digest the sugar in milk and other dairy products, which is known as lactose. Now, as a result, individuals with this condition experience cramps, bloating, nausea, and even diarrhea, which are mostly harmless, but they can be very uncomfortable and inconvenient. On the program today, we'll find out how lactose intolerance can be managed. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and you're watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. There are some people who have digestive problems after drinking milk, eating ice cream, or dishes with cheese, butter, or even heavy cream. That's because their small intestine or their gut is unable to produce a specific enzyme whose job is to digest the sugar in these dairy products, making them lactose intolerant. Let's welcome our guest for today. With us is Dr. Suzette Herman, who is a gastroenterologist from the Makati Medical Center. Also with us is Ma'am Juvie Martillo C., who is the Chief of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics at the Asian Hospital and Medical Center. Our topic for today, lactose intolerance. I'm sure marami sa ating mga Pilipino ang nagtataka kung bakit hindi masyado maganda ang reaction nila when it comes to milk, mga gatas, or milk products for that matter. I'll start the discussion first with Dr. Suzy. Pag-usapan natin, what are the warning signs of this condition? Anong pwedeng maramdaman ng ating mga viewers if they are lactose intolerant?
Usually, they develop mga gastrointestinal symptoms like they can have abdominal pain, usually crampy, parang kinakabagan. Some patients can develop nausea, vomiting, or frequent burping or flatulence. And these usually are noted after ingestion of milk or milk products.
But Dr. Suzy, how quickly does one experience these symptoms after consuming dairy products? Pwede ba itong ma-misinterpret as food poisoning?
Patients who have lactose intolerance can develop the symptoms around 30 minutes until around 2 hours after eating the dairy products. And sometimes the severity of the symptoms can also depend on the amount of lactose that they ingest or that they drink. So if very minimal lang yung amount that they were able to drink or ingest in their diet, then the symptoms could be very mild, like maybe only bloatedness. However, if they ingest a lot more food that contains more lactose products, then the symptoms can be more severe.
Pagdating sa mga tao na prone to lactose intolerance, meron bang group of people na mas mataas ang likelihood na lactose intolerant sila?
Literature would say it's common depending also on the race. So tayo, Asians, are actually more common to develop lactose intolerance.
Ma'am Juvie, can people actually develop lactose intolerant over time? Kumbaga, habang tumatanda sila, doon lang nila nararamdaman ang simptomas ng lactose intolerance.
Meron kasi tayong enzymes na tinatawag na nagbi-breakdown ng milk sugar. So kasi yung katawan natin, kailangan lang ma-absorb ang glucose. So kailangan i-break yon na wala tayong minsan kulang tayo sa enzymes na yon or lactase para sa milk sugar. So habang tumatanda, nababawasan tayo ng lactase. So nagkakaroon na rin tayo ng lactose intolerance. So meron din namang related sa disease, yun yung tinatawag nating yung celiac disease or related sa mga intestinal diseases na nagli-lead na rin sa lactose intolerance, yung mga complications or mga signs and symptoms. And meron din sa mga kids or infants na it would be congenital and developmental. So yun yung may talagang total absence ng lactase. So kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng mga lactose intolerances depende sa mga reasons or root cause.
Ngayon, Dr. Suzy, is it possible to actually sensitize your gut? Or pwede bang ma-outgrow itong lactose intolerance?
According to some studies, yes, you can also do sensitization, like you can try to ingest small doses of lactose in your body, and usually some patients are able to tolerate small doses of lactose, and they are able to tolerate it with minimal or no symptoms.
Dr. Susie, explain natin itong process na to, no? What happens but exactly to the body kapag merong isang taong kumain ng let's say ice cream, for example, or uminom ng gatas? Ano ba yung nangyayari sa katawan?
It just means na kulang sila nung lactase na enzyme. And the lactase is usually found in our duodenum or small intestine. So without any lactase, the lactose which is found in the milk or dairy products is not digested. Yung lactose is fermented or metabolized by our intestinal bacteria. And the intestinal bacteria, when it ferments the lactose in the colon, this produces yung mga gas dun sa ating bituka. That's why we develop cramping, abdominal pain, and also yung unabsorbed sugar from the lactose is also causing increased flow of water into the intestine. That's why some patients can also have diarrhea.
Ma'am Juvie, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, no? How there could be a number of reasons kung bakit ang katawan natin isn't producing enough lactase. Pag-usapan ulit natin yon para maliwanagan yung ating mga viewers with this.
Related po talaga, may mga by genetics po yan sa family, kung talaga pong inherited po yung condition ng lactose intolerance. Meron din po yun, as mentioned, na sa infant pa lang, because of during pregnancy, nagkakaroon tayo ng late ng production ng lactase or enzymes. Meron naman, as we grow old, meron naman tayong normal level ng lactase to have this role na mag-breakdown ng lactose natin na kinakain natin sa mga milk and dairy products. Pero because of our age, talagang nagde-decline ang production ng enzymes.
While your lactase production can decrease over time, it's possible to be born actually with little to no lactase at all. Now, this is a rare type that's passed on from generation to generation called congenital or developmental lactose intolerant. Dr. Susie, is this common in the Philippines? What does a patient who does not have lactase at all, what type of symptoms will they have?
This is what you call yung congenital lactase deficiency. Actually, this is a very rare condition. So, and it's characterized by an absence, meaning wala talaga silang lactase activity in the small intestine. So, they don't produce lactase at birth. So, these are most common sa mga babies, syempre, because it's congenital. Even as early as infants, they already present with lactose intolerance. And sometimes these patients develop failure to thrive because of the deficiency. No? Hindi nila matolerate yung mga milk from their mommies.
If you notice the telltale signs of lactose intolerance after drinking milk or having dairy, it might be time to schedule a doctor's visit. Now, we'll tell you what to expect and the best ways to prevent lactose intolerance when we return. So stay with us on MedTalk Health Talk. We're your partner in healthcare. This is CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Now, many adults experience bloating, cramps, diarrhea, or even vomiting after drinking milk or eating milk products. Today, we'll walk you through what you need to do about it. Let's discuss pag-diagnose ng lactose intolerance, because the first step, as recommended, is to try cutting it from your diet. Now, if your symptoms ease after a day or two, it's more likely that you're lactose intolerant. And your doctor can confirm this diagnosis with actually a few tests. Pag-usapan natin yon, Dr. Suzette, kung ano ba ang if you have a suspicion of your patient being lactose intolerant, what are some of the definitive tests for this?
You do the hydrogen breath test. So you take it after an overnight fast. So you do it in the hospital. This is a non-invasive test. So ang gagawin is when you go to the hospital after fasting, you're given 25 grams of lactose. And then you swallow it with water. And syempre, if you cannot tolerate the lactose, then I mentioned, diba, yung bacteria in the colon will be able to digest the lactose in the colon, and they will be producing yung mga gas. And these gases will be detected in the patient's breath when they do the hydrogen breath test.
Today, there's actually no cure available yet for lactose intolerance, but it is managed pretty easily. Your amount of food and drinks that contain lactose can actually help. Pero, Ma'am Juvie, pag-usapan natin yon. Healthy ba sa diet ng isang tao na tanggalin ang lahat ng lactose or mga milk products? Is it healthy to eliminate from their diets completely?
Lactose is a part of a healthy eating lifestyle, a part of a good composition of a meal, a balanced diet. Kasi when we say lactose, this could be coming from milk and dairy products. And other nutrients could be more component of calcium, phosphorus, kasi yung lactose is a good source of protein din. So, pag sinabi nating lactose, andyan yung milk and dairy products, and it's a case-to-case basis, of course. It's so unfortunate na tanggalin talaga yung lactose sa diet natin.
Now, taking calcium and vitamin D supplements are one of some of the alternatives to this, ano? But, Ma'am Juvie, play natin sa mga viewers yung difference nito. Is this a good replacement?
We still need the supplements to provide the calcium sources natin. But it's, of course, with a good endorsement or collaboration with the gastro, we really identify that what would be the best that we can give to the patient. Kasi as we really nire-reserve namin yung as possible na pwede namin ibigay sa patient. So as identified, for example, if it's due to aging, so we can have a specific amount or allowed that we can give to this type of patients or age group. But if it's related to diseases, there would be a consideration of supplements, calcium supplements or other nutrients para lang ma-maintain yung function natin sa body or balance. Kasi if we don't give enough supplements, may lack of, we will have our nutrient deficiencies naman.
Now, I'd like to ask Dr. Suzy, on the extreme end, can someone who is lactose intolerant be the explanation for any mood changes, any fatigue that they feel in their daily lives, symptoms that may not immediately make them think that it could be due to lactose intolerance? Can it reach this point?
If you have lactose intolerance and you're not able to absorb yung mga other like calcium in the milk, then or vitamin D kulang din. So severe vitamin D deficiency can also cause yung mga mood changes, depression, mga ganyan. And yun, low calcium can also cause yung mga poor bones. So yes, so maybe if you're presenting with symptoms of that and you're having some bowel changes or bowel discomfort, especially when you eat dairy products, then maybe better seek a consultation with a doctor, especially a gastroenterologist, so that you can be worked up properly regarding yung possible of lactose intolerance.
Now, learning how to manage your lactose intolerance begins with your diet. We'll talk about what foods to avoid and the best alternatives when we return. We want to be your partner for a lifetime of good health, so stay with us here on CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and welcome back to Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Now, lactose intolerance is a condition most adults have to live with. There's actually no way to prevent it effectively, but while those living with the condition can consume some dairy without symptoms, there are alternative ways to get your daily dose of calcium as well as vitamin D. Now, we'll take a closer look at what foods you should eat and avoid for a lactose-free diet. Talk about supplement to start this off, specifically those lactase enzyme tablets. Are these tablets effective? Should our viewers take this if they are lactose intolerant?
So there are commercially available preparations for enzyme replacement, like tablet form or a liquid form. And these patients who are lactose intolerant can try taking, these supplements every time they eat food that contains lactose. However, you have to keep in mind that it's not as effective na 100% because sometimes hindi din siya porque na you took these enzymes automatically no symptoms at all. The effectivity of these supplements would also be dependent on the acidity of the stomach. Sometimes if your stomach would be too acidic, then sometimes it cannot work completely. That's why I still advise my patient, the best pa din is to try to limit the lactose products that you're taking.
Let's talk about naman yung foods to avoid kapag nalaman natin na you are indeed lactose intolerant. Ma'am Juvie, let's remind our viewers kung ano ang mga pagkain na ito, na what should our viewers avoid kapag lactose intolerant sila?
On the food that contains lactose. So in layman, we have just read milk and dairy products. Yan po ay nagko-contain ng lactose. So we have to avoid that gradually, or it depends on the intolerances. Mm-hmm. And also we advise the other consumers or patients to read properly the food labels that they want to buy in the grocery. Yes. So check on ang basic lang po sa mga packaging, nakalagay ay lactose-free. So that means it doesn't have lactose.
Now, if diagnosed with lactose intolerance, you need to make an active effort to get enough calcium as well as vitamin D. Now, we mentioned that supplements are a safe way to get them, but there are many healthy foods rich in these nutrients as well. Ma'am Juvie, pag-usapan naman natin yon. Let's give our viewers some ideas kung ano ang mga pagkain na rich in vitamin D and calcium na hindi naman milk products.
Andiyan yung mga seeds, mahilig sa mga nuts like almonds. If other patients are affordable to buy yan it's a good source of calcium, yung mga nuts. But we can also consider yung mga seafoods or yung mga fish with soft bones, mataas po yan sa calcium. At sa mga mahihilig na kumain ng gulay, yan po ay very lucky po sila. They have a good source of calcium or vitamin D, yung mga dark leafy vegetables like broccoli, mga kangkong, petchay. So that would be very affordable na kahit na lactose intolerant tayo, makakakuha tayo ng ibang sources po ng calcium.
Dr. Susie, how about advice for your viewers when it comes to not just what to do if they are lactose intolerant, but overall gut health?
It's very nice to eat, eat a well-balanced diet. Make sure to exercise also because that also, stimulates yung ating digestion. So if you're prone on sitting lang, syempre, most patients, they really feel bloated or constipated. So movement, exercise, balanced diet, and a regular checkup with your gastroenterologist.
Remember, when it comes to lactose intolerance, each individual is unique. Learn how much dairy you can eat and drink without feeling any symptoms. Try smaller servings at first, and you can gradually increase from there. Ultimately, though, you need to listen to your body and what it actually needs. With that, I'd like to thank gastroenterologist Dr. Suzette Coherman and clinical nutritionist and dietitian Ms. Juvie Martillo-C for guiding us on today's episode. Here on MedTalk Health Talk, we hope to give you the knowledge and care that you need. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. We'll see you again next time. Stay safe, everyone.